Be blessed. Thank you.
It was before the earth fell. After the earth fell, the sun no longer gave light. It darkens. And so when God created a new pattern in the tabernacle, they didn't use the sunlight. They used the menorah, and at some point the Shekinah itself will have to come, because the sun now, other principalities can look through it. Adam was supposed to guard the sun in order to regulate seasons and times, but another prince has hijacked the constellation, and so when he looked through the sun, he can darken the hearts of men. That's what you call the wisdom of this world. As you walk the street, you will find somebody. In fact, when you find astrologers who are ranking, what they do is that they can speak into the moon, and when the moon rises, the moon will bring a curse over a city. It's a game of power and authority. And so when you move from the dominions, you now come to the principalities. The principalities are the ones they send first. That's why the word principality means those who come first. So when a dominion wants to take over a new territory, he sends a principality. The same way the spirit will say, come. A dominion will send the principality to also say, come. And so as we are speaking now, there are those who are coming to darkness. But the Lord is calling some into light. And the reason he's calling men into light is because there is a civilization that is about to be built. If it is just to come here and receive a gift, it would have been a waste. This Nigeria, a new Nigeria will have to emerge. But you will need those who can build. And so they are calling men again to give them tools. And as I round up, I will show you how civilizations are built. Because when we come and we are commissioned, we will go out in 3 orders. The first will be prophets. Because Moses went to Egypt first. And then the second will be priests. Because the priests are the ones that create the commonwealth. They guard the mercy seat. And then the third are kings. That's how you shape a civilization. But before you become a prophet, a priest, and a king, you must be summoned. Because if you are not summoned into this company to be equipped, and the principality summons you, you will also be empowered. You know, for those of you that watch kingdom movies, there are those they call warlocks. A warlock is one who participates with spiritual wickedness in heavenly places. Because when principalities come into a city, they take a sample. Because they group people into tribes. But tribe in the spirit is not Tiv, Idoma, Igede, Yoruba. No. That's mundane. That civilization is too deep. That one you are talking is from Babel. That type of tribe is for division. The kind of tribe you are talking about here is a conglomeration to form cities. And so when principalities come, they will check your spiritual texture. If you are prophetic, it means you can pick signals in the spirit. You are in a tribe. And when you check, those of you who speak that language, one of your greatest weakness will be lust and immorality. And so what the principality will do is that he will show you pictures. All of that is to summon. Because the summon is an inaudible sound. But you will hear it, you that is called. And as I go back to Revelation, you are going to see the people they call. It's not everybody that comes. Because there are 3 kinds of people that come. If you study Revelation 22 verse 17, the first people that come are those who hear. The second people that come are those who test. The third people that come are those who are willing. It's not everybody that comes into the summon. And so when a principality is summoning you, he will check the specificity of your spiritual DNA. And when he finds it, he will use a tool to draw you. So when you draw and you come, they now equip you and send you as a warlock so that you can shape a city. That's why you have one man. He opens a brothel. And in that one brothel, 1,000 virgins are disflowered. He has done his job. And when those virgins are disflowered, he sends them into the city. And they enter the city to break homes and to send diseases into the city. And you will not know. You think it's by wearing a tie and preaching a sound sermon. No. They are functionaries being recruited, sent to create corruption in the city. And so because it is the way of God that is being mimicked in darkness, God is still in the business of calling men. And so when God begins to summon, the first thing that happens is that they are looking for a particular kind of people. And the first set of people he's looking for are those who hear. Because when he created you with those faculties. That's why I say when the trumpet makes an unusual sound, he said, who will prepare for battle? And the way you hear that summon is not by matter come. The language you hear is called a burden. A burden. A burden. A burden is louder than a shout. And so when the spirit and the bride begins to call, in the days of summon, you will discover that certain kinds of men will become restless. Even they will not know why. They will wake up and say, no. Why is there corruption in this city? The question you are asking is a summon. Some will rise up and say, no. Why is there corruption in the church? It's a summon. Because the ancients have gathered beyond the stars. They are looking for messengers that they will send to colonize again. And so Moses was in Egypt for many years. He wasn't bothered. The queens, the princesses, and the maidens were bathing him and pampering him. And he loved the ways of Egypt. Because, who wouldn't love such pleasure? In the civilization where everybody is struggling, you just come to the river, you stand, they shower you, wash you, clean you up, and when they are done, you walk up, you sit at the king's table, and you eat a good meal, and you stroll around the city. One of such days, he was strolling around, and a burden hit him. He didn't know what happened. He was just going around to survey how Israel were manipulated, marginalized, as usual. And then, while he was yet walking, a burden fell upon him. He heard a sound. And from that day, he lost his peace. But he didn't know that that burden is not for activity. Because most times, when we don't understand summons, when a burden comes, we enter activity. When Moses saw Pharaoh, fear gripped his heart. He now discovered that a burden is not a call to activity. It's a call to the monarch. Because in Mark chapter 3, verse 14, he said he called them to be with him. You will come first. If you don't come to be with and you send yourself, your head will be cut off. Because a burden is a summon. And so when convergences like this begin to happen, the first sign that you are part of the feast is that a burden will bring you there. When you look at it and you see it, you will know that this thing happening, there is a summon in the spirit. There are many people that their burden now is to see how they can deal with issues of poverty. There are many people that their burden is to see how they can deal with issues of unrighteousness. Those are sounds of trumpets in the spirit. A spirit is beckoning upon you. And when you hear that, it's not time to take action. It is time to seek him. Because the people they call are those who hear. And the way you hear is by the language of a burden. I don't know if you've had a burden before. Some years ago, a burden came upon me. So strong. I was a very young man. Just finished my undergraduate. I wanted to enroll for masters then, and I just was at home. And this burden came. Every month, I go on 21 days fast and pray. 21 days fast. And my anger was, why is it that most young ladies in Benue are just casually given to prostitution? So cheap that most times it is even noised abroad that the girls in Benue are cheap. That with 2,000 naira you can just get somebody. I say, what kind? How then will young prophets get married? Because when these ladies are done, they run into choir. Even when they have not repented. What kind of thing is this? How will God's heritage be preserved? And I had this burden because that's how I taught them. And I started praying. In the 6th month, I was still on the 21 days fast. And suddenly as I laid down, my wall opened. And a being walked into the room. A naked creature. Female creature, but the head was a man. Carrying an apron on the neck like a prostitute. And when I saw the creature, out of anger, I wanted to stand up. I discovered I was paralyzed. And he walked around me because, you cast out demons, not principalities. Principalities can meet Jesus after 40 days fasting and say, if you are the Son of God. The same Jesus that the principality was talking to entered the synagogue and demons screamed and started going out. It's demons you cast out. A principality has body. So you don't cast him. It's a demon that does not have body, illegally occupying somebody else that you can say, get out. When you meet a principality, put on the whole armor of God because you are about to fight. Are we together? And so this creature walked into the room. I tried to get up. I was paralyzed and he sat on me. Immediately my spirit began to scan. And I remember, they that call the name of the Lord, they shall be saved. And I said, Jesus, save me. And light came and dematerialized that spirit. That was when I knew the foundation of fornication and prostitution in Benue. It was a principality summoning people. It wasn't just what young girls do. It was a civilization. An atmosphere was opened over the city. And so I knew that warriors needed to rise as gatekeepers to shut the door. Because that's the technology in the spirit. So the burden that was put upon me was so that me too, I will rise as a voice. And in the day of my stature, I will be able to speak from the heavens and say, let this gate be shut. But I didn't know. I started praying and attacking things. It was not time to attack. It was time to journey back to Horeb, the mountain of God. Because when Moses had that body, he thought he would kill all the Egyptians. No, that was not the time to kill. That was the time to find the mountains of God. And the Bible said, Moses in Exodus chapter 3 verse 1, he said he was keeping the sheep of his father-in-law Jethro until he came to Horeb, the mountain of God. The whole technology of burden is to bring you to the mountain of God. If you have not arrived at the mountain of God, it means you didn't hear correctly. Because it is on that mountain that the second protocol will be activated. So the first set of people that respond to the call of the bride are those who are called burden bearers. They hear something. That thing they hear becomes a weight in their heart. God shares his anger. He shares his desire with them. And they carry it upon their shoulders like weight. And they nurture it until that weight brings them to the presence. The second set of people that hear this sound are those who thirst. These ones don't necessarily have a burden, but they desire to see again the glory and the power. David said in Psalm 63 verse 1 and 2, he said, early will I seek thee. Early in the morning when others are sleeping, he said, me, I want to seek you. Why? To see thy glory and thy powers. Because they heard the story of the ancients, that once upon a time, by the hand of God, he broke the staff of bread. By the hand of God, he broke the powers of Egypt. By the blast of his nostril, he parted the Red Sea. And they heard wondrous things. And so like Gideon, they are asking, where is the God of our fathers? They want to see those glories again. There are those who are in church, they are already satisfied because they are LED screens. They are haze machines creating smokes. They are satisfied already because everywhere is excellent and they are singing good songs. But there are those who say, thank God for excellence. But I want to see the days of Joshua, where a man could stand and say, let the sun remain upon the mountains of Ajalon. Let the moon remain upon the valley of Gibeon. And the Bible will say, the sun did not make haste to go down. Where are such days where men did not just wield powers over cities, but they could command the constellation so that the purposes of God can be fulfilled? There are such who carry such hunger. There are men like Samuel, hungry and desperate to see God walk again like Samuel. Because Samuel woke up and stood and said, this is dry season. He said, but I will call upon the name of the Lord, and it will thunder from heaven now. So a man is so powerful that he's not praying for cancer. He can shift atmospheres. The kind of atmosphere we are talking about is not the one music creates in a meeting. We are talking atmospheres. See, when the atmosphere shift, even the earth will resonate. That a man can stand and say, let the rain come as a sign that I'm sent of God. There are certain men who are hungry to see like the days of Moses, where somebody can enter a city with a staff and he will go straight to Pharaoh and say, let my people go. Today, nations are ruled by beasts of reckless wickedness, and we confine ourselves behind church auditoriums. There are those who are hungry to have powers enough to confront the powers that be and tell them there is one monarch in Zion. Not men who have large congregations necessarily, but men who can confront the kings of the earth and say, today you are dethroned. And if the king stretches his hand, the hand will paralyze. They've heard things that looks as if the Bible is a lie. And so their hunger is to see the acts of the apostles continue. Because it didn't stop with Paul. Paul said, according as it is written, they have spoken. He said, we having the same spirit of faith. He said, we believe and therefore we speak. I don't want to read the acts of the apostles. This is the language of such men. I want to play the acts of the apostles. Because it didn't stop with Paul. Hope you know that there was a time when a demonic theology rose up and they said that miracles stopped with the apostles. Speaking in tongues stopped with apostles. It is the testers that rose up and said, no, miracles didn't stop with the apostles. And to prove it, I won't do an exegesis. Bring the blind.